Hello, Rio Hondo campus community. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a personal meeting room for you to use for general office hours. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and start off at the ConferZoom.org website, and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. After you've signed in, you're going to be dropped into the meetings area, in which you're going to be able to see your upcoming meetings, any previous meetings, and a personal meeting room. This is where we actually want to go and take a look at the settings on it. Now, on your personal meeting room, you have a topic that you can modify. It has a place for you to actually add the time to your calendar. It tells you what your meeting ID is set to. And then it tells you a bunch of other different settings, such as if the meeting requires a password, what is the join URL assigned to it, and then also what are the options for video, audio, and other meeting options that you may or may not require. Now I'm going to go ahead and edit this meeting, because I want to make a few changes in here potentially. Now, your personal meeting ID is a 10-digit number that requires 12 digits long because there are 2 dashes in between. You can change this, however, it is always has to be a number. Now, the next element here is the meeting password. If you want to require a meeting password or not, that is really up to you. I'm going to go ahead and check that off, and then you can also you can enter whatever password is that you want in here, just so you can, if you want to keep that private for your students. I'm going to actually go ahead and uncheck this. Now for the video section here, it has host and participant, and this is whether or not the video is automatically started in when you enter the meeting room. I usually leave this as off. For audio, it's asking you, do you want to require it to be from either the telephone, computer audio, or both? Typically, I leave it as both because I want students or even people in my businesses that I work with to have the option of either calling in via the telephone or using their computer. Now, for the rest of the general meeting options, you have an option here to enable join before the host. Generally, that's used if you want to put out a meeting there and you want people to be able to join it before you have. You can mute participants upon entry. Because this is going to be used for just a general office hour, I don't want to mute my students when they enter. I can also enable a waiting room, and that's used if you happen to have because right now it has this checkbox for enable join before host is not already checked. Students will not be able to actually join the meeting room until you have entered it. So they are placed inside of a waiting room waiting for you to actually enter. So then we can actually have a thing in here for only authenticated users can join. This is unchecked. The setting is locked and actually cannot be changed. Then we have breakout rooms pre-assigned. This is if you wanted to create different types of breakout rooms and actually pre-assign people to them. And then lastly, we have record the meeting automatically to the cloud. And now because I'm going to be using this for my office hours, I don't actually want to record to the cloud because some student may actually give me some confidential information. And then lastly in here, we have alternative hosts. This is good for if you have other people who are going to be possibly hosting for you. So if you're having a division meeting, you could actually have multiple people be as alternative hosts. But since this is for office hours, I'm going to leave that blank. But this just gives you the ability to have more than one person be responsible for starting the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now, the next thing I'm going to modify in here is in my profile. So I'm going to go ahead and click my profile. Now, within the profile, it shows that you have the ConferZoom here link for your personal meeting ID. Now, this is not a very user-friendly ID. However, you can see down here there is a personal link. And if I click Customize on this, I can actually enter in a personal link. And what this does is it makes it a very nice user-friendly name for you to actually give to students for office hours. So there are some rules to this though. It has to be between 5 to 40 characters. It has to start with a letter, and it can only contain lowercase letters A through Z. the numbers 0 through 9, and the periods. So I'm going to go ahead and type in here brenda.harlow.office.hours. And then I'm going to hit Save Changes when I'm done. So now I have one of two ways that I can actually change my, put this in for my virtual office hours. The first way is that I could come in here and I can just grab this whole URL out and copy and paste it and just put it in as a link inside of Canvas. And so it becomes very clear for my users for where they're going to end up at. And it's just a good way to actually share a personal meeting space. However, I actually want to use in the personal meeting room the invitation, in which case I can copy this invitation out here. It now gives me the URL for it. It gives me the one-tap ID for it. It also gives me a whole bunch of different phone numbers that are in here, as well as international numbers, and if they wanted to use Skype, they can go ahead and Skype it in. And so it just has a whole bunch of different options. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this invitation out, which now I see it's been copied to my clipboard. And I was previously playing around with this. You can see that I went ahead and pasted it in, but just to show you how it's done, I'm going to go ahead and take my page that I already had set up and paste it in. Now, the one problem with this is that you'll notice in here that none of the URLs here are actually linked up in Canvas. So I actually have to go through, highlight the URL, copy it out, come up to the toolbar and click Link to URL, and then paste it in. And then I need to do the same thing down here for the international links. So I'm going to copy it out, link to URL, paste it in, insert link. And now if I go ahead and save it, I have my URLs set up to where all the students have to do is click on it and they will be able to actually go to my virtual office hours that I'm going to be holding at their regular times. So that's it. That's the easy way of setting up a page for virtual office hours with students and actually setting up the different settings for Zoom. Hopefully this will be helpful to you and we can continue working with our students. Thank you.